Hello students, this is Vishnu Tandon and welcome back to my class. Dear students, in our previous 9th standard history class, we have learned about France abolishes monarchy and becomes a republic. And in today's session, we are going to learn and we are going to discuss about fourth part. Did women have a revolution and abolition of slavery, and last part of this lesson, the revolution and everyday life. So let us start the class with the did women have a revolution. So let us start the class. From the very beginning, women were active participants in the events which brought about so many important changes in French society. They hoped that their involvement would pressurize the revolutionary government to introduce measures to improve their lives. Now, we have to learn, we have to understand what was the condition of women in France before the revolution. Most of the women of the third estate had to work for a living. They worked as a seamstress or laundress, sold flowers, fruits and vegetables at the market, or were employed as a domestic servants in the houses of prosperous people. Most women did not have access to education or job training. Only daughters of nobles or wealthier member of the third estate could study at a convent, after which their families arrange a marriage for them. Working women had also to care for their families, that is, cooking, fetching water, queue for a bread, and look after the children. Their wages were lower than those of men. Now, let us understand what did women do to gain their political rights. In order to discuss and voice their interest, women started their own political clubs and newspapers. About 60 women's clubs came up in different French cities. The Society of Revolutionary and Republican Women was the most famous of them. As I said, there were many women clubs. Among them, the most important club was the Society of Revolutionary and Republican Women was the most famous women's club. One of their main demand was that women enjoy the same political rights as men. Now, let us go to the next aspect, why women were disappointed by the constitution of 1791 in France. So we know that the new constitution was drafted by National Assembly, and these women were disappointed by the constitution of 1791. Why? What were the reasons? The reasons were as follow. Women were disappointed that the constitution of 1791 reduced them to passive citizens. As we learnt in a previous class that the constitution of 1791 classified the citizens of France into two groups, active citizens and passive citizens. So active citizens were wealthier section of the society who paid taxes, and passive citizens were the people who could not pay tax. So even men and women, those who were not able to pay the taxes, were considered as a passive citizens. Now women were disappointed by the constitution of 1791 as they were considered as a passive citizens. Now they demanded the right to vote, to be elected to the assembly and hold political offices. Their main demand was to have a right to vote and to be elected to the assembly and to hold political offices. Only then they felt would their interest be represented in the new government. So, laws were introduced in France by the revolutionary government to improve the lives of women. The revolutionary government introduced a few laws, a few measurements to improve the lives of women. What were the laws or what were the improvement measures taken by the revolutionary government? So let us discuss with that. First and foremost, state schools were several state schools were created and schooling was made compulsory for all girls. The very important point is state schools were established and schooling was made compulsory for all girls. Their father could no longer force them into marriage against their will. Marriage was made into a contract entered into freely and registered under civil law. Divorce was made legal and could be applied for by both men and women. Women could now train for jobs, could become artists or run small business. So these were the laws introduced by the revolutionary government to improve the lives of women. In order to improve the lives of women, revolutionary government introduced above laws. So let us move to the next part. So now let us understand whether these laws were implemented or not. Women's movement for voting rights and equal wages continued through the next 200 years in many countries of the world. The fight for the vote was carried out through an international suffragette movement during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. The example of the political activities of French women during the revolutionary years was kept alive as an inspiring memory. It was finally in 1946 that women in France won the right to vote. Finally, women got the power of vote, right to vote in the year 1946. The women of France got the right to vote in the year 1946. Now, let us discuss about the one of the important revolutionary women was Olympe de Gouges. Olympe de Gouges was one of the most important of the political active women in the revolutionary France. She protested against the constitution and the declaration of rights of men and the citizen as they excluded women from basic rights that each human being was entitled to. In 1791, she wrote a declaration of the rights of women and the citizen, which she addressed to the Queen and to the members of the National Assembly, demanding that they act upon it. In 1793, Olympe de Gouges criticized the Jacobin government for forcibly closing down women's club. She was tried by National Convention, which charged her with treason. Soon after this, she was executed. One of the most revolutionary social reforms of the Jacobin regime was the abolition of slavery in the French colonies. The colonies in the Caribbean, Martinique, Guadeloupe, and San Domingo, these three were the important suppliers of commodities such as tobacco, indigo, sugar, and coffee. But the reluctance of Europeans to go and work in distant and unfamiliar lands meant a shortage of labor on the plantations. So here the Europeans did not want to work in the plantations. or they did not want to work, to go distant places and unfamiliar places and work there. So this created shortage of a labor on the plantation. So this was met by a triangular slave trade between Europe, Africa and America. Here this map shows the triangular slave trade between Africa, Europe and America. So let us move to the next one. The slave trade began in the 17th century. The French merchants sailed from the port of Bordeaux, Nantes, to the African coast, where they bought slaves from local chieftains. They branded and shackled the slaves, were packed tightly into the ships for the 3-month long voyage across the Atlantic to the Caribbean. They were sold to the plantation owners. The exploitation of slave labor made it possible to meet the growing demand in European markets for sugar, coffee and indigo. Port cities like Bordeaux and Nantes owed their economic prosperity to the flourishing slave trade. Throughout the 18th century, there was a little criticism of slavery in France. The National Assembly held long debates about whether the rights of men should be extended to all French citizens, including those in the colonies. But it did not pass any laws, fearing opposition from businessmen whose incomes depend on the slaves trade. It was finally the convention which in 1794 legislated to free all slaves in the French across overseas possessions. This, however, turned out to be short-term measure. 10 years later, Napoleon reintroduced slavery. Plantation owners understood their freedom as including the right to enslave African Negroes in pursuit of their economic interest. Slavery was finally abolished in French colonies in 1848. Finally, in 1848, slavery was completely abolished in French and French colonies. Now let us move to the last part of this lesson, the revolution and everyday life. Here we have a question we have to ask ourselves. Can politics change the clothes people wear, the language they speak, or books they read? This question we have to ask ourselves. So, the year following 1798 in France saw many such changes in the lives of men and women and children. The revolutionary governments took it upon themselves to pass laws that would translate the ideals of liberty, equality into everyday practice. Next, very important part of this session is abolition of censorship. One of the important law that came into effect soon after the storming of Bastille in the summer of 1798 was the abolition of censorship. In the old regime, all written material and culture activities, books, newspapers, plays could be published or performed only after they had been approved by the censors of the king. Now, the Declaration of the Rights of Man and Citizen proclaimed freedom of speech and expression to be natural right. Newspapers, pamphlets, books and printed pictures flooded the towns of France from where they traveled rapidly into the countryside. Now let us move to the next part, very important, rise and fall of Napoleon Bonaparte. In 1804, Napoleon Bonaparte crowned himself Emperor of France. He set out to conquer neighboring European countries, dispossessing the dynasties and creating kingdoms where he placed a member of his family. Napoleon saw his rule as a modernizer of Europe. He introduced many laws such as the protection of private property and a uniform system of weights and measures provided by the decimal system. Initially, many saw Napoleon as a liberator who would bring freedom for the people. But soon the Napoleonic armies came to be viewed everywhere as an invading force. He was finally defeated at Waterloo in 1815. Many of his measures that carried the revolutionary ideas of liberty and modern laws of other parts of Europe and had an impact on people long after Napoleon had left. Now let us go to the last part of this lesson, students, legacy of the French Revolution. The ideas of liberty and democratic rights were the most important legacy of the French Revolution. This spread from France to the rest of Europe during the 19th century, where feudal systems were abolished. Colonized people reworked the idea of freedom from bondage into their movements to create sovereign nation state. Tipu Sultan and Ram Mohan Roy are two examples of individuals who responded to the ideas coming from the revolutionary France. So dear students, in this particular session, we have discussed about did women have a revolution? Fifth part, the abolition of slavery, and last part of the lesson, the revolution and everyday life. So in next class, we shall come with another lesson, second lesson, socialism in Europe and the Russian Revolution. Till then, take care and have a nice day. Thank you very much.